Hi developers, welcome to day 2 of week 1 on our free full stack online web development bootcamp, and we will be looking at CSS. What does that stand for? Cascading Style Sheets. So the learning objectives today are to learn CSS, use classes and IDs, that'll make a bit more sense later. We're going to Google styles. We're not going to really style Google itself, but we're going to show the power of Googling because it's very difficult to memorize all the styles out there. And we're also going to look to add external CSS in the form of Bootstrap, which will make more sense later on as well. So what you'll notice here in our GitHub repo, day 2 CSS is completely empty. There's just a README. So I actually don't have any reference material, and I thought it would be fun to code along with everyone. Because if I get stuck, hey, we can always Google things, etc, etc. So this was me playing around, and then I thought, nah, let's do it live. So we're going to go into here, start fresh, and I'll actually delete this file. So I just have index, so let's call it, what should we call it? Styling. Something like that. If it had an L, that would be great. Cool. Now inside the body, we're just going to do the classic H1. I'm going to get styled. That's pretty much as far as I got last time. And then we're going to do a horizontal rule. Awesome. I'm going to get styled. That sounds great. How do we style it? So that's a great question. What you can do is look into HTML CSS and how it all links up. Again, W3 Schools, or just Google it, nice and easy. And there's a few different ways to do it. So you can do it inline. This is called Inline Styling. We don't really recommend that because HTML should be just HTML. CSS should be just CSS. You don't really want to mix the two, otherwise you'll get confused like I did on that last sentence. So while this works, it's good to keep it separate. This is also another practice which I wouldn't recommend, because again, even though it's valid and will definitely work, we can even try it. Look, there's no problems. It's just messy, because if someone said, hey, can you go in and change the paragraph text from white to green? You're going to have to scroll through here. There might be 1,000 lines of styling just to try and find where it is. So the best way to do it is external CSS. So the key line that you need here is this. So we'll just copy that to save us writing it. Pretty much it's linking to an external document called style CSS, and it's the type style sheet. So inside the header tag, I'll just pop it at the top. So we have that there. Awesome. So let's load our page. And it's not working. So it probably can't find our style CSS. You can see here it received index HTML, but it couldn't find style CSS. And it just failed to even load that. So that's because it doesn't exist. Styles.css. Boom. Like so. Now we have H1. So we're going to style all H1s, and we're going to say the color is blue. My favorite color. There we go. You can see it successfully downloaded style CSS. H1 color blue. This is actually pretty cool. So in the dev tools, if you just right click inspect and you go network, you can actually see what your web browser receives. Another way that is quite informative is if you right click inspect, you can actually see the style here and toggle it on and off. I highly, actually I can't recommend it enough that you always make websites and write code, etc. with the DevTools open, because you can see everything like margin. Oh hey, the margin's too big, we can make it smaller. We don't like blue, what does it look like by default? All of this stuff is really important. And nice and easy, because you can play around and get a feeling just from clicking a few things on and off. Anyway, so for this styling here, that is actually targeting every single H1. So every single element. So we'll comment that out. So the comments in CSS is like so. Just remember to get them the right way. Now what we want to do is style one specific element. So, oops. There we are. And the reason for that is if I go into here and h1 on another header, they're both blue. So if I want this blue and this one green, a way to do, well, we've got to tell them apart, right? So a way to do that is our second learning objective using classes or IDs. So we can say header second, like so. So inside here, we'll need to go header second. So we're targeting that one specifically, color green, like so. So we've targeted that one specifically. We can inspect it. And you can see here, class, header second, on another header, green. So this is why, again, why I like the dev tool. So on line 3 of CSS, it said, hey, all H1s need to be blue. Then later, when it read down to line 9, it said, well, actually, if it has the class header second, it should be green. So that is crossed out because it was overridden by green, which is pretty cool. So that's how CSS works. And there's a lot more to CSS. You can get really, really deep. You can say, like we did in the first table, you know, you can say for every second child of an unordered list, give it a grey background, etc. But we'll just focus on sort of the key elements that you need to get up and running. And if you're really passionate about box shadows or other things, you can go off and learn about those. So we want to say style one specific element with ID. So comment that out. Cool. So what we'll do is we'll make another header. I just had to remember what we had in the HTML, so we'll copy paste the second one, and we'll give it an ID. So ID equals header 3, like so. Another header number 3, just so we can tell it apart. Cool. So the ID is header 3. So IDs are hash, whereas classes are dot. So just bear that in mind. Color, oh, what should this be? Purple. Okay, let's see what happens. Boom. So what you're noticing is, wow, this is purple, but it actually had the same class as green. You can see it was overridden. So what you may think is, oh, it's probably just the ordering of the CSS file. So let's see if that holds true. It does not. So you can see here it's still purple, even though we used to give it header second, so that said, hey, it should be green. What we could do is change the ordering around, so we'll say, hey, purple is first, like so, and it's still the same. So the reason for that, you can see here it's on line 2. The reason why that happens is IDs take precedent over classes. So if we say, hey, the class name says it should be green, even when this had, even when the actual element still had header second, it was showing purple. And that's because IDs take precedent. So an ID will overrule a class. So you can see here they both have the same class, but this one shows purple because IDs overrule class. So that's probably one of the most important learning concepts from this entire CSS thing. Alrighty, so where are we up to? We have learned some CSS, used classes and IDs, which is great. Now let's have some fun and Google some styles. So usually what I do, let's just say I'm using a table or a card or something, I'll go table CSS style. And honestly, jump into here. This looks a bit basic, not too bad. You know, how nice can we get it? This one's actually pretty cool. This one's pretty cool. So let's go try it yourself. We can actually just take all this styling, table, table head, table data, like so. We can actually paste that into our CSS. So table styles, like so. You definitely want comments in CSS because you can see already we're at 31 lines. It's going to get hard to maintain very, very soon. So we also don't have a table on our page, so I'll take that. Have a table. Alright, let's check it out. Wicked. So now what you might say is, oh, that's pretty easy. You just copy pasted someone's code. You know, where's the skill in that? Where's the challenge? You know, how is it so simple, really? And that's something I struggled with when I first started to write code, because the skill in being a developer is not really memorizing all of the syntax. The skill is being able to say, copy paste it in there and go, this table looks good. Now what does my client want? Well, first of all, I'm not dealing with names, it's pet name. Second, it might be, say, owner name, and then it could be their phone number. And to actually see the difference here, and then go, oh, my client might actually want, you know, more padding or margin, etc., and being able to put that in, that's where the really niche skill of being a developer comes in. You know, you might say, hey, it's a bit too wide, half the width. You know, that actually looks more reasonable. What else could we do? Padding 8 pixels, you know, maybe that's not enough. Let's go 12. It's got a bit more breathing space now. Maybe no one actually knows what this table is about. So maybe what the client actually wants us to have in there too is below is a table of pets and their owners. You know, maybe that's what they want. So just bear in mind that while we do copy paste, the real skill is being able to copy paste and then fit it to the needs. Anyway, enough about that. Something else I usually look for is, say, box shadow. Even Google tried auto-completing that. That's pretty cool. Box shadow. Alright, so let's try it ourselves. So you can see here box shadows look pretty cool. More modern ones actually look better than this. I should probably try and find a more modern. So modern box shadow CSS. Something that looks a bit nicer. What do we have here? Oh, that actually looks really sweet. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So they have cards here. I actually like... This one has hover. I like this one, number 3. So card 3 is the class in here. So their code is just like ours, right? This is not hard to understand. So we can copy paste card into here. So we'll go card styles. This is the exciting part, when you can actually just start dumping lots of code in, getting something up and running, you know, really fast, and just seeing what it looks like on the page. So they just have a div, so we'll chuck that in. I hope this doesn't need any external libraries. I'll be gutted if it does. Hey, there we go. Wow, that card actually looks really epic, I must be honest. Can we write inside it? Inside the card, let's check it out. Hey, wicked. So that's really cool. So we might want some padding, right? Because this text is right up on the edge. So card 3, jump back in there. None. So padding 10. Oh, that is so much better. Cool. So already we now have professionally designed cards, you know, that we could use. We could even put pictures inside of that. And that was honestly 20 seconds maybe. I haven't checked the timeline. But that's really what the point in this is, I'm not personally a professional, you know, stylist. So when I'm building websites for people and things like that, this is just how I work. I'll have a look, hey, what's a good card, and then go from there. And then you get that professional look, you know, with not much effort. If you really like it and want to use it for other projects, then save it to a notepad or something, some sort of workbook, so you can reference that later. I'm probably going to save that one, not going to lie, it's pretty sweet. Okay, so what we want to do now is we've done some Googling, actually got a bit excited, use classes IDs, we've learned some basic CSS, and now we're going to look to add some external CSS. One thing before we go, I should mention this. There's a lot of things here inside CSS. You know, you can float, navigation bars, links, text, you know, outlines, height and width. I recommend just reading. You can go one or two ways. You can either read through all of this and learn about what you can write. You know, for example, learning these. Or you could just copy paste like I did, but still read through and go, I wonder what border radius is. Let me take that off. Oh, okay, it's looking quite sharp. Okay, well, let's play around and make it 22. Do things like this. Now it's nice and round. And that's how you learn what these different things do, by having a play. The other way, I guess, is to just read about it. But for me, when I first started out, I'd spend hours just in here tinkering, on and off, learning about, this is how you do RGBA. You can also have RGB, you can have static colors like this, you can have hex colors using this, and all sorts. So I encourage you to go off and have lots of fun there. But anyway, that actually looks quite nice with rounded corners. Let's look at Bootstrap. You may have seen it, heard about it, wondered how to use it. First of all, CSS only, that's really all we're going to do. Copy paste this. If you want animated stuff and carousels and things to move around and animate, you do need these three here, these JavaScripts. But just for now, we're going to look at CSS. We will add the other one later, probably in week 2. So we want our styles to override Bootstrap, so we're going to do Bootstrap second, like so. Oh, the formatting. There we are. You actually need this cross origin, otherwise it will fail to load, so just copy paste their stuff in. Now, a key trick for seeing if you have Bootstrap, take a look at all the text here, and now look at it. It's changed! So that's how you know Bootstrap is pretty much running. If you're unsure, you can just expand the head and you can see it here. So what this is, you might think, oh, it now looks worse than before, or yay, it looks way better. These default styles come with Bootstrap, so it's a great way to see whether it's running or not. And each sort of CSS framework has their own default styling, and you can restyle it back to how it was, but I actually prefer this personally. Cool, what does Bootstrap do? Documentation, examples. Usually for me, I just dive straight into the examples, and I have a look and go, well, starter template, it's a bit too extreme. Nav bars, okay, there's lots of things here. You can actually inspect it and just copy paste the code from in here. You could grab that. But documentation, once we decide, so say here, okay, Jumbotron, that looks pretty cool. Nav bars look cool. Let's head into the docs. So we know we're looking for a Jumbotron and nav bar. Oh, it's in components. Whoops. Okay, Jumbotron. That looks pretty cool. That looks... I kind of like the fluid one, so let's grab that. So copy... You can actually just click that. Copy. Oh, where should we put it? Let's get rid of all these ugly H1s. Chuck that in. There's our Jumbotron, which is pretty cool. It should be somewhat responsive. So ready for mobile, all that sort of stuff. But the key thing is it's there. And now it's up to you or myself to go ahead and style this, make this better. Obviously fluid Jumbotron isn't really what we want, so life of my cat. And inside here, this is the life of my cat named Bella. Meow. Something like that. Done. Alright, so we might want an image. Do they have images? Media object. So there's quite a few. It's not really what I'm after, to be honest. Alerts, card, maybe a card picture. Okay, so they do. Let's go with this first one. So we'll chuck that in. We kind of want some of that for when I upload it. So we'll do that at the bottom. So this is all copy pasted. Card title, some quick examples, and a button. So here we're going to go HTTPS. We're just going to say google.co.nz. Go to Google. So just a random button here. My cat loves to smile in the rain. Card title, about my cat. Cool. Image source, ... So we need to go find an image of a cat. Cat image, Google. Hey, this one's pretty cool. Alright. Oh, Google Brain Simulator. Oh god. Copy image address. Chuck that in there. Alt text. This is quite good if people use screen readers and can't see the image. So I'll just say picture of a cat. Awesome. So that's all done. You know, it looks pretty sweet. It looks like that button kind of fell out. We don't really care about that button anyway. My cat loves to smile in the rain. So that's better than our other card, but I'll leave it there for the sake of the for people following along. But notice how fast we could get that up and running, how nice it looks. And that's kind of what Bootstrap and other frameworks offer, is they offer you a very, very quick and easy way to get this up. Doing manual CSS, it's not impossible, but there's quite a bit of styling, as you can see here on the right, that actually goes into it. So what we might want to check out is, we wanted navbar, didn't we? Navbar. You can read how it works. I've used this quite a bit, so I'm going to skip through. I quite like some of these darker navbars. They're a bit easier on the eyes. Collapse trigger, responsive. I'll just go off this first one. So to make it this color, we need to write navbar, navbar dark, bg dark. So these are all specific classes that tell Bootstrap, hey, give it a navbar class. You know, make these things float in the middle, and you know, give it a bit of padding and rough edges. Navbar dark, make the background darker. Well, that's actually probably this as well. So let's actually have a look. If we go into here, navbar should be at the top, like so. We don't get anything, so that's not very helpful. Oh, what are we missing? What are we missing? Navbar content. Okay, well, we need something inside of it, so what do we need? Default, fixed top, fixed bottom. Let's just get all of this stuff here. So, actually that's a bit too much. This is better. Nope. Yes. So we'll get the button, the A class, that's the brand, collapse target. Okay, let's grab all of it. Div, yep. Boom. This is actually a pretty extreme navbar, and it's one of the things that kind of put me off all the navbars in Bootstrap, to be honest. So there's our navbar. Everything's missing because it's in what appears to be mobile mode. That's so strange. Navbar BG dark, button, navbar toggler. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Like so. Navbar. Okay, that's a very simple navbar of one thing to click. We should be able to add items such as home, etc, etc. Navbar collapse, navbar demo, nav item active, home. Okay, well, we kind of want that. Let's see if we can take this div out. What we actually see. We don't want search. Okay, so we just have an unordered list of hopefully nav items that will show up. There they are. Oh, okay. That's not what we expected. Let's get rid of the... Let's leave the div there and get rid of this form. That was interesting. Oh wow, it's still doing it. Okay, so why are you making things go that way? Navbar, nav, mr auto, empty large. Oh god. That's very strange. Because this is all across. Navbar expand large. Maybe we're missing some of these classes, so let's just grab that. That's it. So we were just missing one of the classes. But you can see there, while you may think, oh, he was frazzled for a second, maybe he's got no idea how CSS or coding works. I've actually just demonstrated the best way to, you know, get around those problems is just keep trying, reading the docs. You know, disabled item, home, link, it's all there. Sometimes we don't get it the first time, but as long as your brain is looking, you know, what's the next step, troubleshooting, searching, hungry for the answer, and not just going, I got it wrong. Dang, next time, I'm just not good enough. You know, you've got to have that motivated mindset, because no one knows all of this stuff off the top of their head. So how are we doing for time? What else do we want? Well, actually what I'll say is I'll recommend for you to look through, all of this stuff here, see what interests you, and just use some of it. We can upgrade our button. We'll just do that quickly. I forgot where the button is, so we'll just dump in a button at the end of the nav. It'll look strange, but things like that. That looks much better than the button that we did in the first episode. They should also have tables. Content. Okay, so that's their default. Oh, wow. Okay. Check this out. Table class, table dark. Okay, here's our table. Let's try it. Table. Literally like 1, 2, 3, 4 words. Boom! That is so cool. I don't know why it just gets me excited all the time, but that's so powerful. What's it doing behind the scenes? It is doing lots of things. Let me drag this up. It's adding this border color. It's adding padding. It's adding vertical alignment, borders on top. It's got all these colors, everything. So that's pretty sweet. Anyway, folks, what we're going to do is we'll check that off. So just to recap, we have learned some CSS, learned the difference between classes, IDs, and styling everything. We've Googled some styles like the epic card shadow that we found. And we've looked into how to add external CSS such as Bootstrap. So that is day 2 CSS all wrapped up. And I hope to see you for more web development action in day 3. Have a good one. Catch you next time.